This is the Good Government Show.
We're very much like the whole state of Minnesota. We're about a third rural, a third suburban, and a third urban, which is pretty much the whole state of Minnesota when you look at our overall population. The land of 10,000 lakes, we're proud of all of our water, but we're very proud of the Mississippi River in Minnesota. About 2/3 of the country have their water eventually end up in the Mississippi River. Our volunteers do about $1 million worth of things that the county would have had to pay for. If you don't go and show up and all you do is spend your time on social media complaining, you're not going to feel better, and it's not going to get better. But the world can be changed by one individual or by a small group of individuals.
The Mississippi River might be the most important river in the United States. The river both defined the nation and helped us grow. And yet, it's still an endangered river. On today's show, I talk with one county commissioner who's working to make sure his section of the river is better. It's local good government in action. Welcome to the Good Government Show. I'm Dave Martin. First, help us share the message of good government by liking us and sharing us where we are on all your favorite social media. Make sure to review us and send our show to everybody. We all need to talk about good government. Back in August, I talked with the county commissioner from Minneapolis about her efforts with a project called the Mighty Mississippi River Cleanup. This is a project that started in a more rural part of Minnesota, but the project grew. And go back and listen to that show with Commissioner Debbie Gittell. Well, listen after this episode. So on this show, we're going to go downriver to Dakota County and talk with Commissioner Mike Slavik. His county is part of the cleanup efforts to help do what they can to keep the river, well, just a little bit cleaner. Volunteers, and I was impressed by the number of volunteers they assembled. They waded into the Mississippi River and pulled out trash, car parts, garbage. As you'll hear, they made the river a little cleaner. As this show is airing now, this year's challenge is on again. It runs from April to May. Last year, over 3,000 volunteers collected over 21,000 pounds of trash as part of the entire cleanup challenge. Listen to the impressive numbers just in Dakota County. That's coming up with Commissioner Mike Slavik after this. We have a new partner here on the Good Government Show, HelloNation. This is a new digital magazine that showcases the best of cities across the nation. We'd all prefer if good news traveled faster. At HelloNation, positive stories don't just get told, they get amplified. HelloNation helps businesses, leaders, and communities share positive stories that matter, building trust, credibility, and meaningful connection. Through professionally produced podcasts, digital features, and targeted distribution, HelloNation positions you as the answer regular folks are looking for, while expanding and scaling your digital footprint across the platforms that people trust. Good news deserves momentum. Your city or your business can help spread the word of good news across the nation. At HelloNation, they don't just have advertisers, they have advertisers. Editorial content from trusted community leaders and cities that are helping spread the good news. Let HelloNation lift you up and lead the conversation. Visit HelloNation.com to learn more. Once you wrap up this episode of the Good Government Show, give a listen to our friends over at Good News for Lefties. This daily podcast highlights news stories that show there's more good news out there. Other people in government are really trying to do the right thing. That's Good News for Lefties. Listen where you're listening now. Welcome to the Good Government Show. I have with me Mike Slavik. Mike, where are you from?
I am from Dakota County, Minnesota.
Minnesota?
Yes.
Which is on the Mississippi.
We are right on the Mississippi, yes, right on the Minnesota-Wisconsin border.
So tell me what's happening in Dakota County, Minnesota. Where are you?
So we are about 25 minutes south of the capital city of St. Paul. We're the third largest county, about 470,000 people. We're very much like the whole state of Minnesota. We're about a third rural, a third suburban, and a third urban, which is pretty much the whole state of Minnesota when you look at our overall population.
And what's the biggest city in Dakota?
Our biggest city in Dakota County is a city called Lakeville. So it's a suburban county towards the southern part of the county.
And that's where you are.
So I have actually about half of the county geographically. So I have all the rural areas and two of the older communities. So I'm from a city of Hastings, right on the Mississippi River.
Now, the reason why we're talking is because you just completed something called the Mighty Mississippi Cleanup Challenge. correct?
Yeah, that is correct, yes.
Right. So first, let's talk about the Mississippi River. I mean, this is, you could argue, the river that made America famous, one of the most important waterways in the history of the United States. Abraham Lincoln was a flatboat captain on the Mississippi River. Yes. Tell me about it.
Well, and Minnesota loves its water. And, the headwaters, the start of the Mississippi River is in Itasca, Minnesota. So literally you can walk across the Mississippi River up in northern Minnesota, and it's just a little trickle of a creek. You literally walk across it. It's 3-4 inches deep at most, and you can walk across the Mississippi River.
That?
I have done it. Yes, it's part of one of our state parks, and so up in northern Minnesota, and then as it winds through and goes through the state of Minnesota, and then all the way down to Louisiana. But the headwaters and the start of the Mississippi River starts in Minnesota, and we're very proud of the land of 10,000 lakes. We're proud of all of our water, but we're very proud of the Mississippi River in Minnesota.
And you can walk across the Mississippi River.
You can, yes.
I did not know that.
Something everyone should try. It's amazing, yes.
It's probably like standing at the Four Corners.
Very much so, yes.
Hey, look at me. So I did not know this until recently, but the reason why you started this Mississippi River cleanup is because the Mississippi River needs to be cleaned up. What happened? Why? How did it get so bad?
Well, I think just as industry and people and population over the years, if you start at the beginning, it's crystal clear in a couple inches, and it gets pretty mucky and murky very, very quickly. Yeah. And we have just from garbage and pollution and industry that hits the river, as well as you may or may not be aware, but there are hundreds of rivers and watersheds that all flow into the Mississippi River. So it might not even be the Mississippi River.
It's the Mississippi River sort of
collects all sorts of rivers across about 2/3 of the country have their water eventually end up in the Mississippi River. And so it may not even be the Mississippi River that was polluted, but one of the other rivers that flows into there.
It flows in and flows downstream.
And flows downstream,
off we go. How is the river in your county, in your area?
It's improving, so I actually have, where I live is the confluence of the St. Croix River, which is the river that basically is the border of Minnesota and Wisconsin to the north. Okay. And we actually see it when you're on a boat, and you can see a drastic difference. It'd be a mucky brown Mississippi River and a pretty clear St. Croix River. So that's one of the things that you can see the impacts of when all of the water flows from the Mississippi. It's improving from what it was when I was a kid, but it still has a long ways to go.
When you were a kid, did you swim in it?
Didn't swim in, boated in. We'd go boating, but didn't do much swimming in the Mississippi River there.
You knew not to.
No, yeah, we'd go to St. Croix, which was only 10 minutes away. But one of the things is there was a couple different pretty significant rivers that flowed through Minnesota that ended up and those were a lot of agriculture, a lot of industry, and heavily polluted. And they would hit Minneapolis, St. Paul. And so by the time they went there, it wasn't a great place to swim. And we also have a lot of barge traffic, a lot of traffic. It's a navigation channel from really parts of St. Louis, New Orleans, all the way up to St. Paul, Minneapolis. So you'd be
barge traffic, commercial traffic.
You would have a hard time swimming through there too.
Was it just the fact that there were not environmental laws and people didn't pay attention, and so it just slowly and steadily got worse? I mean,
yeah. I think that played a big role in it. A lot of the stuff is, buffers. You were farming right up to other river watersheds and rivers, and so the chemicals could run off right in there. Now you have some in between space, some buffers that have gone in and helped with that. But then also just as population grows, you add a lot more garbage and that's where we've really spent our time trying to at least do that part to not make the river worse.
When did people become aware of the conditions in the Mississippi River that a cleanup was needed?
So I think it was about the 70s. 1970s is when I know. So the Minnesota River, which goes right through farm country and was one of the contributors to that. That was in like the 1970s when the Minnesota River Basin groups really started saying we have to do something to improve this. And
this is about the time that the EPA was created and environmental awareness became an issue and all that sort of.
And it has ebbed and flowed over the years, depending on who's in leadership and such.
Okay. And there is something called the Mississippi River Challenge. Tell me about this. How did this get started?
So one of the county commissioners to actually the county south of Dakota, went and I think she was at a National Association of Counties conference at the legislative in Washington, D.C., and she was seeing this in a different river as part of a cleanup. And she said, we should go in and make an initiative to go from the start to the bottom. And so she started initially with just some of the adjacent counties, adjacent to Goodhue County. Linda Flanders is her name, out of Goodhue County. And she said,
let's mention Linda Flanders. She brought us together.
She brought us all together.
Whether we like it or not.
Yeah. So, and she went in there and she just kind of kept poking the bear. And
that's what you need, right?
That's what you need. And
that's what you need in government.
Yeah.
You need someone like a Linda Flanders to say, wait a minute, and be relentless.
And so many of the things we were already doing, so the river cleanups and that, we just never really came together in an acknowledgement. So my local community living on the river, we always had every Earth Day celebration clean up the river, but we never actually put that in conjunction with all of the other areas along to be able to go and say, look at what we're already doing and let's challenge to make it even better. And she was a driver of that.
And when you're talking about water, water does not know border.
Yes.
And water does not respect city boundaries.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter if you're doing an awesome job in Dakota County if a county up or a county south isn't. It's you're pitching sand against the tide almost.
That's exactly it.
Right?
You become a drop in the bucket unless you really decide to coalesce and work together.
So how long has the Mississippi River cleanup been going on?
So I think
as a coordinated effort.
Just about 3 years. Our county won it the first year, and then we actually.
All right, whoa. You buried the lead here. Oh. Our county won it the first year. What does you won? There's a competition.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of a competition, and I think there was only 4 or 5 counties in Minnesota that had started that, and so Linda went and worked out, and you get a certificate if you win. But it was
a pat on the back.
But there's measurements on how many volunteers. So how many people did you get engaged to try to go and understand the value of that? We're all in it together for making the river better, and then also how many pounds of garbage and debris did you get out?
So the first year you won, and how many volunteers and how much garbage did you collect? Do you remember?
So I think we had. We were at about like 500 volunteers that went, and
500.
Yeah, so we have
that's a lot.
Yeah, we have 3 cities that are on the Mississippi River, and the rest are either intermixed between farmland or much of our population is elsewhere. So those 3 cities all worked together and got the volunteers. And I don't remember how many tons, but we've actually improved every single year on how much we've done. And
how much did you collect this year?
So I think we were about 1,300 pounds of garbage that we collected.
1,300 pounds.
Yeah.
So and you've gone up every year.
And we've gone every year. And but one of our larger counties, where Minneapolis is based, they've gone. They actually have a lot more communities that are on the river, and they stepped it up, and gives us a little effort that we got to do a little more too. And
we need more people. We need more people. How do you get 500? So we do have other county commissioners that listen. How do you get 500 volunteers on a single day?
So it was over a couple different days depending on the community. So I volunteered with a group that the county, our volunteer coordinator had helped out, and then we have a couple environmental groups that worked. We had about 120 that worked in my hometown of Hastings that went, and
that's a lot of volunteers.
That is a lot of volunteers.
Tell me, how do you get 100 volunteers, 500 volunteers?
So
what do you do?
So what we did is we've had a pretty well-established volunteer core group that we've, it got so much that we actually had to hire a staff person in our county to go in.
Wow. That's a good problem.
It's a very good problem.
See, this is good government.
And
a volunteer coordinator that you need because there are a lot of people who want to help.
And it's a really neat thing. So we have a lot of prairie along some of the stuff there, and what we've actually these volunteers have gone and collected the prairie seeds that we've then gone in. They harvest them. Our master gardeners go in and grow them for the county, and then the volunteers plant them back in our prairie. So we've been able to do some restoration. Okay. So we've got about 300 volunteers that just do that.
All right.
And amazing
you
stuff.
still haven't answered the question.
Yes.
I'm going back to this.
Yes.
How do you get 100, 500 volunteers?
Social media.
Okay.
Website. And then we've used a lot of our, so we just have built a program up at word of mouth, but it's, but we do pretty significant by our website and social media is how we've gone in there. And then
what's the pitch? What are you pitching them on?
Well, we've gone in and said, what do you want to do to make your community better?
Okay.
And then we also go and acknowledge our volunteers afterwards, and we do some appreciation, and that kind of gets people to do stuff after. So it's about, we do a day at the zoo that for all of our volunteers.
Oh, that's fun.
And it gets them a little there, but so many want to go in and say, well, it gives me something to do. I get to make my community a better place. And it has just been a program that took a few years. Our peer in Hennepin County, they've been doing this for about 20 years as a volunteer coordinator. We've had one for about 6. So that was kind of when it came to when they jumped onto the Mississippi cleanup. They had a little bit of advantage because they already had the volunteers.
But that's do you find people are excited to jump in and help the county and their local?
We really have, and and we acknowledge about how you want to keep your taxes low. This is one of the ways to do it. Get involved.
There you go.
Get involved.
There you go.
Our volunteers do about $1 million worth of things that the county would have to pay for.
Our volunteers do $1 million worth of stuff.
Service things that we would have had to hire a consultant or hire staff to do that our volunteers do instead. It saves $1 million for the taxpayer a year.
That's not nothing.
No, not at all.
That makes a difference. Wow. Well done on that. Yeah. And this has been going on, you said 3 years now?
Yeah, 3 years. So.
Okay. And already plans for next year. What are you picking up? What are you at the cleanup day? What are you collecting? You said 1,300 pounds of.
Yeah. So about a third of it is recyclable. So it's cans and glass and plastic bottles and that. Okay. We have found everything from old rusted bicycles to
cars. Have you pulled a car out?
Car parts, not a full car, but we've done a lot of car parts. And right. We've had a lot of boat parts, or even some boat motors that we've had the full.
Are they dumped? Are they lost? Are they? Who knows?
It's a little bit of both. Yeah. And so some of the big ones that have been for us is a number of the things that we've found. I would say about 10% are items that are leaking contaminants into the river. So that's been the great thing to be able to. We found that about 10% of what we get out are not just typical garbage, but are actually making the river worse. So the fact of having volunteers pull that out, that's a game changer.
And are we getting in the water? Are we wading in?
Parts of where we are, not most of it is like right along the shoreline. Okay. So we've got the riprap, and most of it is like stuff there that they're able to pull out. And
I know this is, I'm 1,300 pounds of garbage is something. Is it making a difference? Is it making a real difference?
I think particularly that 10% that I just talked about, that changes the game. When you get something that's leaking oil into the river, we look at just a couple drops of oil or a couple drops of salt can go and contaminate a major body of water.
Wow. Okay. And you're going to keep doing this?
We're going to keep doing it, yes.
Have you expanded this, beyond the Mississippi or in other places?
We haven't, but that's a discussion. So we've got a couple different other rivers and waterways that we've been looking at. We've expanded on our county highway system on a cleanup there, but we're actually looking at doing some river and some watershed cleanuуps. In addition, that's actually one of the next steps.
All right. Well, before we switch over to our Good Government Show questionnaire, any other good government you'd like to talk about going on in Dakota?
Well, I just I want to Dakota County, Minnesota. I just want to bring up the fact that we've partnered with our extension and 4-H to be able to go in. That prairie restoration has been amazing. We have over 6,000 acres of prairie that are publicly owned, and to be able to use those volunteers and then go in and grow our own prairie plants and then restore a prairie, that is just such. We're building our own greenhouse. And the return on investment of building our own county-owned greenhouse, we believe that we will have it paid for in under 4 years because of what we used to go and pay to go and buy the plugs and the plants for the prairie that we are now growing ourselves. We will have an entire greenhouse, and this is a 7-figure greenhouse that we will have paid off in about 4 years. I wish people could see you right now because you're so excited to talk about this. That's good. That saves money. And that's what we need to do. Yes.
Again, good government, right?
Good government, right.
All right. We're going to get to the hard part in just a minute.
All right.
The Good Government Show is sponsored by Our. That's OUR for our community. Get involved. We hear that all the time from government leaders. Our co-brands with your government's name and logo. Your staff and the people you serve are connected and part of your community. From any device, your members provide reliable data and meaningful feedback. Ask a question like, do we want more parkland or better homeless services? More engaged conversations come through the Our app. Visit Ourco, that's OURCO.com, and book a demonstration. After you get done with this episode, hear more good government stories with our friends at How to Really Run a City. Former mayors Kasim Reed of Atlanta and Michael Nutter of Philadelphia, and their co-host, journalist and author Larry Platt, talk with guests and other mayors about how to really get stuff done in cities around the nation. Check them out where you're listening now or through their nonprofit news site, thephiladelphiacitizen.org/podcasts. So we have this thing called the Good Government Show questionnaire. So I ask everyone these questions and gives them a chance to get into your real philosophy of government.
Yeah.
How long have you been a county commissioner?
I've been a county commissioner for 13 years.
And before that?
I have 6 years as a city council member.
And now? So
19 years.
All right, 19 years altogether.
Yeah.
So 19 years. What is good government? Define it.
What is good government? I think that is being transparent. I think that is communicating effectively amongst your paid staff, your elected colleagues, and your taxpayers and your citizens and businesses. So being able to communicate effectively. And then it's also going and realizing a philosophy that you're not going to necessarily be able to run like a business, because there are things that if you run exclusively like a business, you are going to hurt people. You are not going to be able to serve what you need to do. But you should always have a mindset that what you do and the work you do is still going in and being paid for by the taxpayers. So how do you go in and find that right balance of serving the people that you represent, but also going and watch out for the dollar that could be in their back pocket?
Could you make a few phone calls and let them know that you can't run government like a business? I think there's a couple of people who could use your advice.
Yes.
If people are frustrated by government, if they don't like what they're seeing, what should they do?
It's hard to do this, but I still say you have to show up. You have to go and say that if you come in with a philosophy that not everything is going to be perfect, but if you don't go and show up and all you do is spend your time on social media complaining, you're not going to feel better and it's not going to get better. So I think we've lost a lot of the society of willing to step up and volunteer. I grew up in a family where if you don't like how it's done, you step up and you try to make it better. And I think that we need to go in, if we're going to make government better, we need to find that 1 hour a week where you can go in and actually take some of the time to go and make it better.
It's hard.
Very hard. Especially when those conflicts are your family and your friends and your professional job.
And what do you tell someone who says, and I'm sure you've had these conversations like, oh yeah, but I can't go to the meetings. Oh yeah, but I don't have the time. What do you say to them?
I said, well, first and foremost, you can contact me. And I said, because you do have a whole level of government that you can contact. You may not necessarily get what you want there, but I said that is the first and foremost, that you do have elected officials throughout the process. But I'm like, if it's not that, try to figure out what it might be. There's got to be something. There's so many opportunities out there, and that's what I always share is try to find something, and maybe your something is just being in my ear once a month,
or show up and clean up the Mississippi.
Yeah, absolutely,
one time during the year. What drew you to public service? 19 years in, what did you do before all this?
So, and I got elected when I was 24.
Oh,
so I've been doing it for quite a while too.
I guess.
But when I was a high school student, the outdoor pool in my hometown was losing 10,000 gallons of water a day, and it had a crack, and it was so they had to go in and close the pool down, and I grew up a couple blocks away from the pool, and the city tried to go and get a vote to go and build a new pool, and it didn't. It was voted down. So the mayor and council said, we're going to go in and create a subcommittee that's going to go and try to figure out how to get a pool built in our hometown. And so I was one of the council members said, well, we should have a young person, a high school student. So I was a sophomore in high school and was one of the 7 people appointed, and we worked through. We figured out a way.
How did they pick you?
So I was on a student council, youth planning council in high school, and so the city council member showed up and said, anybody interested? So I said yes.
Yes.
And that was where I kind of went in. I'm like,
couldn't they just go in and just spackle the pool? I mean, sounds like it could have been easy.
So that pool's now been open for 26 years.
Good.
And it's pretty. I drive by it. I represent that town, and it's been pretty neat.
Is it the Mike Slavik pool?
It isn't. My name is on a little plaque there, but the fact is that I got to go and see where some dedicated citizens actually could go in and make a difference. And
what a great experience for a high school kid.
Absolutely. And with that, I went to college, got a degree in political science, and
here we are.
And here we are.
Okay.
And so that was really my entry as a 16-year-old, saying, how do I make my community better? I swam there as a kid.
You thought about politics early and often.
I did.
Who is your political hero?
So I would say locally, one of my political heroes is the guy I ended up serving with as he was the mayor when I got elected on the city council.
Okay.
And I've learned how to run a meeting from him. He was the local guy and kind of graduated Hastings, kind of did a very similar track that I did, but he never got into the county world. But he just loved our hometown, as I do. And but he never left. I went and experienced a little bit of the world, came back to my hometown, but I just saw on somebody who was just so committed to going and said, I want to make things better.
Okay.
And I would say would be my political hero on a local level. I have a couple of good presidents I'm a big fan of as well. So
do tell.
Yeah. So Lincoln and LBJ are two of kind of for very different reasons, but at the end of the day, both Abraham Lincoln and President LBJ, they both went and found ways to get things done.
Yes.
And not the same way.
No.
But I'm a big believer
not
that.
the same way at all.
Yeah, not the same way at all. But I believe that we have a responsibility. We're only on this earth for so long. Let's get stuff done.
You said that you were on the student council as a sophomore in high school.
Yes.
Did you want to be president when you were a kid? I mean, did you always see yourself running for office?
And I wasn't even like student council president or class officer. I was just there to do stuff. I would say that it was that pool experience that got me to say, oh, I can be the leader to actually, so that was you talked to my middle school and elementary school teachers, like we would have never figured you as an elected official. But it was really my sophomore, junior year that I'm like, well, somebody's got to step up. I was just the doer.
Yeah.
And then then it became from a doer to a leader.
There you go. That's what you need in government. 19 years in, city council and county government. What would you like people to know about government?
I would like to tell people that, especially in that local government, you can change things. You can go in and it's not about the ivory tower or the people who go and make decisions behind closed doors. The biggest change and some of the things I am most proud of were people who either brought an issue to me or they were engaged and passionate and they helped drive something. But the world can be changed by one individual or by a small group of individuals.
And you can get a pool, and you can get a pool in your neighborhood.
Get a pool, exactly.
What's the best part of your job?
I would say the best part of my job is when you can see something that you've been working on for longer than you want it to be. And I'll give you a quick example of that. And you can actually see it come to fruition. We've had a really bad intersection in the rural part of my county and accidents and tragic deaths. And we've tried flashing stop signs. And we've even had a law enforcement sitting at the stop sign and nothing has worked. And we've sat there and said, why don't we just do rumble strips? And we have a interesting thing because of its proximity that rumble strips will be loud and that stuff there. And we worked out a deal and actually worked with all the neighbors and they all signed off, got rumble strips. We have had no accidents since we've done a couple.
Really?
Yeah. And we were on the one every 5 days. And,
why did that work?
And the engineers, because they fought me for 6 years on this, saying it shouldn't work. But we're like, we don't know why this. But it. So
is it like a speed bump?
So it is a very flat. The county's pretty rolling, but this is a very flat part in there. It's where the glacier stopped, and they. So you see cornfields on 4 sides, and you just it's not really a sight line. It just doesn't feel like a spot where you would stop. It's a 60-mile-an-hour highway on both ways.
Okay.
And you only stop on one of those, so it doesn't feel like it just feels like you'd be cruising down the road. But we fought that for years, and I'm like, we have to do something. And and I was supporting the engineers because they're far smarter than I am. But finally,
you thought.
So I thought. And so,
however,
and so did
turns
they.
out.
And so did they. And they're like, well, this one defies our own logic, and it has worked. And that's a success story that makes me feel really proud.
What are you concerned about? What keeps you up at night?
I think some of our one on how to pay for the services of government are very concerning when we rely a lot on state and federal dollars and we implement all the social services at the county level, not at the state level. And with what's happening at the federal level and at our state level, that's very concerning because the end result is either we hurt the individuals who are paying for those services or the individuals who are receiving those services, and trying to find that balance of efficiency and showing compassion and care for others. As well as respect for the tax dollar. That keeps me up at night.
That keeps you up at night.
Yes.
So, whole different topic. I'm coming to Hastings. I'm coming to Dakota County, Minnesota.
Yeah.
What's the dish I must try?
The dish you must try.
What's the favorite local food there?
So I would say, one of my favorite things is we've got a supper club there, and I don't know if you've ever heard much of these Wisconsin, Minnesota supper clubs.
Not much.
There is, they're still old school. Welcome to the 1950s, and we've got one just outside of town in there that as people drive hours to get to, and it's where you're going to get your old fashions and your grasshopper frozen ice cream liqueur drinks and that.
Okay.
And their prime rib is something that you will drive hours and hours for.
Well, listen to Garrison Keeler. Everything's held together with cream of mushroom soup.
Cream of mushroom soup. That's exactly right. So
prime rib, and a frozen grasshopper,
Yeah.
All right. What do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun?
When you're not working?
When I am not working.
Or cleaning up the Mississippi?
So I am a big roller coaster enthusiast.
Okay.
In fact, while we're out here in Pennsylvania, my family is flying in this week, and we're going to spend a couple days at Hershey Park. And so we're going to spend a couple days there. And so that is one of the things my daughter and I, we probably do 20 plus times at the local amusement park every summer.
Okay.
With our season passes. So, So I'm excited to try some different roller coasters while we're out here.
You might get some chocolate while you're there.
And my wife will be with, and she's going to go to the zoo and chocolate. And that's going to be her time. So that would be one of the things we absolutely love to do for fun.
So this is the Good Government Show. We always bring it back to good government. Give me an example of a good government project that you're excited about.
Yeah.
Although I have to say, the intersection with the rumble strips is pretty cool.
Yeah. I would say one of the other ones that's kind of a sign of good government for us is we have a trout stream that goes through the urban area in Dakota County, and I happen to live basically on that right now. And when I was a kid, I thought it was wonderful, and I'd go swimming that one there. What I know today, I would never go in. I would never have swam in it as a kid, knowing what I know of what it was like in the 1980s. But however, one of the things that happened on there is we formed a joint powers with the adjacent county where the headwaters of that said we can't do this by our own, and we've been able to go in and what we've been able to do and clean up in that river. It is the only natural reproducing brown trout stream in an urban area in the entire country, and it's been that way for the last almost 20 years. So I'm very proud of how clean that river has become compared to what it was when I was a kid in the 80s.
So while your title is county commissioner, really you're just a garbage man.
Yes, and that was how we go in and clean up the pesticides and all that stuff there. But we now have a trout stream that actually is reproducing trout and not just putting in trout to fish.
Do you fish for trout as well?
I fish on that river, and where I am, we can actually keep them. So
fly fish?
Not fly fish. I'm a reel. So but the whole neighborhood goes in and does that, and so I'm really proud that what I thought was good as a child wasn't so great, and how much it is so much better today.
All right. Well, you're doing a good job cleaning up. Mike Slavik of Dakota County, Minnesota, a commissioner and sanitation engineer, it turns out. And good luck on the roller coasters. And thank you for cleaning up the Mississippi on behalf of all Americans. And thanks for coming by.
Thank you so much.
Want to hear more about good government? Check out another show I host, Leading Iowa, Good Government in Iowa Cities. I host the show with Brad Kavanaugh, mayor of Dubuque, Iowa, and the immediate past president of the Iowa League of Cities. Together, we talk to leaders in Iowa cities. We talk about what works and what good government looks like in Iowa. Join us right here where you're listening now. That's Leading Iowa, Good Government in Iowa Cities. It was called the War to End All Wars, but it didn't. 3 royal cousins, all kings, one from England, one from Germany, and one from Russia, blundered their way into a war, a completely avoidable war that left millions dead in the trenches across Europe. Good Government Show executive producer Jim Ludlow details the blunders, mistakes, and bluster that started World War I that didn't end all wars. The book, The Royal Cousins, details the events and creates an alternative history. Imagine if World War I never happened. It didn't have to. Just read it yourself. Download the book today on Amazon. It's just 99 cents and a timely look at history. Sounds like volunteering is off and running in Dakota County, Minnesota, and it's not just the Mississippi River that's being cleaned up. The number of volunteers have allowed the county to expand to other projects, and that's good government. I hear this a lot from many government leaders I talk to. Getting citizens involved. It helps at every level. And volunteering saving government $1 million? That's impressive volunteering. One person can change the world, Mike Slavik said. Something to think about. So I really need to get up to Minnesota and just walk across the Mississippi. Now, about that prime rib at the supper club and a frozen grasshopper, well, what's not to love about an ice cream cocktail? That's our show. Thanks for listening. Please like us and share us with your friends and review us right here where you're listening. And check out our website, goodgovernmentshow.com, for extras. Help us keep telling stories of good government in action everywhere. Join us again for another episode right here where you're listening now. I'm Dave Martin, and this is The Good Government Show. The Good Government Show is produced by the Good Government Institute, a nonprofit organization promoting civic engagement and civic education. All donations to the show help promote trust in government. You can donate at goodgovinstitute.org. That's goodgovinstitute.org. Executive producers are Jim Ludlow, Dave Martin, that's me, and David Snyder. Jason Stershik is our editor and producer. Join us again to hear good stories about our government right here on The Good Government Show.
This podcast is part of the Democracy Group.